Hello everyone. Welcome back to Maths and Physics with David. Today, I want you to imagine something. You send your younger brother or sister to the market, and you say, buy a small bag of rice. They come back and the bag is either too small or too big. Then you start wondering, did we define small properly? That is where measurement comes in. Measurement helps us describe the world using numbers and agreed standards so everyone understands exactly what we mean. Not guessing. Not estimating randomly, but accurate comparison using standard units. A unit must be attached to every quantity measured. A physical quantity is a combination of number and unit. As you can see, 5 meter is a combination of 5 and meter. The meter explains the type of quantity that is being measured. Same thing with other units. A unit helps identify the quantity that is being measured. Now let's talk about base and derived quantities and their units. There are 7 base or fundamental quantities in which other quantities are formed from. When you combine 2 or more base quantities, you get a derived quantity. For example, when you combine length and another length, you get area. Also, when you combine mass and volume, you get density. Some popular prefixes you will see around different units in physics and how they are converted. When you have a prefix in front of a unit, such as centi or kilo, you multiply by the value of the prefix. If you are converting from base unit to unit with prefix, such as from meter to kilometer, divide by that prefix. For instance, to convert from kilometer to meter, multiply by kilo, which is 1,000. Also, from meter to kilo, do the opposite, which is to divide by 1,000. Now let's talk about the measurement of length. One of the instruments for measuring length is the meter rule. The meter rule is used for measuring short distances up to 1 meter. The vernier caliper. This is another instrument for measuring length. It is used for measuring internal and external small diameters of objects. Micrometer screw gauge. The micrometer screw gauge is used for measuring only external diameter of objects. This is only used to measure small thickness. Let's talk about the least count of these instruments. We will start with meter rule. The least count of a meter rule is the smallest measurement it can read correctly. On a meter rule, the smallest lines you can see are 1 millimeter or 0.1 centimeters. For this reason, a meter rule can only give reading up to 1 millimeter and 1 decimal place in centimeter. For vernier caliper, the least count of a vernier caliper is the smallest length it can measure accurately. It means the smallest lines you can see on a vernier caliper are 0.1 millimeters and 0.01 centimeters. For this reason, a vernier caliper can only give reading up to 1 decimal place in millimeter and 2 decimal places in centimeter. For micrometer screw gauge, the least count of a micrometer screw gauge is the smallest length it can measure accurately. It means that the smallest lines you can see on a micrometer screw gauge are 0.01 millimeters and 0.001 centimeters. Therefore, a micrometer screw gauge can only give reading up to 2 decimal places in millimeter and 3 decimal places in centimeter. For the measurement of time, time can be measured using instruments such as a stopwatch, sand hourglass, clock, or digital timer. For mass, mass can be measured using a balance or an electronic scale. For volume, if the shape is regular, for instance, if the shape is a cube, cuboid, cylinder, and so on, the formula for calculating the volume of such shape is used. For irregular shapes, a displacement can or measuring cylinder is used.